Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions.
We're going beyond.
Today on Going Beyond.
On today's show, we're going to talk about an upcoming event that has great importance for folks living along Natural Bridge in St. Louis County from 170 down to Jennings Station Road.
And the 24-1 communities are just excited to have the community come to Lucas Crossing School at the address 7837 Natural Bridge Road on this Saturday. This is the Saturday before Mother's Day, and it's an opportunity for community residents to come and give their opinions. We need to hear the voices of people so that they can talk about economic development, the kinds of businesses they want to see, the kinds of improvements they would like to see all along Natural Bridge Road. So we are really encouraging the residents to come in and give some input, responses, ideas, all those things we're looking forward to.
Joining me on today's show is the city manager for the City of Northwoods, Miss Lillian Eunice. Beyond Housing is going beyond.
That and more ahead today on Going Beyond with Chris Kremeyer, right after this.
Everyone has a part to play in this, and that everyone must play a part in this, because this cannot be from the top down. It can't be mandated by the federal government or by the states or whatever. This has to be done in an individual, person-to-person, heart-to-heart, soul-to-soul, community by community. This is how this work will be done, to transform communities from the inside out, to create a healthier community in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally. And I think that by connecting each other, that's how that begins to happen, when we realize that we have so much in common, that we're so much more alike than we are different.
If we as a community have an awareness and understanding to react and respond differently to situations in our lives, we are going to create true community change. We have to recognize the true cause, the root of what's wrong with somebody. Working not to address the symptoms, but to address the cause. It's time to thrive. Be alive and well. Join this movement at aliveandwellstl.com. RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.
We're going beyond. Welcome to this edition of Going Beyond. I'm your host, Chris Kremeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. On today's show, we're going to talk about an upcoming event that has great importance for folks living along Natural Bridge in St. Louis County from 170 down to Jennings Station Road. Joining me on today's show is the city manager for the City of Northwoods, Miss Lillian Eunice. Miss Eunice, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. Glad to be here.
As listeners will know, Beyond Housing has been working with the leadership of the 24 communities in the boundaries of the Normandy Schools Collaborative and something called 24-1, and Miss Eunice and the City of Northwoods with Reverend Everett Thomas as mayor have been leaders in so many different kinds of things that have happened in our community over the last 5 years. I'm excited to have you on the show. And let's talk a little bit about what's happening this coming Saturday, and then we'll delve into a couple other bigger issues that we know exist in the community. So tell listeners about what's happening this Saturday, and if you're a resident of any of those 10 communities from 170 to Jennings Station Road on Natural Bridge, to come out and join us.
Yes. Well, we are having a most wonderful, wonderful event that is going to be sponsored by the municipalities. There are 9 of them working together, and also Beyond Housing. And the 24-1 communities are just excited to have the community come to Lucas Crossing School at the address 7837 Natural Bridge Road on this Saturday. This is the Saturday before Mother's Day, and it's an opportunity for community residents to come and give their opinions. We need to hear the voices of people so that they can talk about economic development, the kinds of businesses they want to see, the kinds of improvements they would like to see all along Natural Bridge Road. So we are really encouraging the residents to come in and give some input, responses, ideas, all those things we're looking forward to.
So again, kind of a hallmark of the work of the 24-1 initiative is to, again, get direction from people that live in the community, people that pay their taxes, people that have an interest in seeing their community get healthier and stronger. And this is another way to, again, lend your voice about what you think is important. I think the great thing about this particular part of our geography is we have the great anchors of the University of Missouri St. Louis and Express Scripts smack dab in the middle of our geography. There's some great things happening in front of the university, the Great Streets Project there. And again, we're doing some great stuff there in terms of widening the sidewalks, making everything more attractive so people can walk and bike, and to bring more businesses to that stretch right in front of the university, and the university should be lauded for again, moving forward on that. But this is really about things that aren't in front of the university, because the university's got that whole little stretch covered. We're talking about kind of the east and west ends of our geography. So again, Ms. Eunice, maybe to tell folks kind of what we've done to date relative to, meeting with all the mayors and meeting with the community. This won't be our first time we've talked to community about what's important to them along Natural Bridge.
No, we've had several meetings with the political leadership in terms of mayors and elected officials. We've had at least one or two community meetings so that we could talk to the residents, but we'd love for more residents to come out. This Saturday, we're looking to have the registration there at Lucas Crossing School from 9:30 until about 10 o'clock. We have a light breakfast for everyone, and then we'll start the meeting at 10 o'clock. It will go from 10 until 12. What's exciting, though, is that we have electronic voting, electronic community input, so that everyone will have a chance to tell all about the kinds of things they'd like to see on Natural Bridge. Now, we're really excited about this because when we had our last community meeting, we talked about the prospect of getting a grocery store in the area, an urgent care facility along Natural Bridge, something that's desperately needed that we don't have right now, restaurant, and an entertainment center for all families to come to. There's just not enough for young people to be able to come in and be entertained and to have the wonderful upscale kinds of businesses and facilities and companies and all of those things that you find in some of the other neighborhoods. And because we're so close to the university, we would love for Natural Bridge to just be another booming area with great businesses to serve the residents in the 24/1 footprint.
So again, this is a great opportunity if you're a resident of any of those communities on Natural Bridge from 170 to Jennings Station Road. Come join us this Saturday, May 9th. 9:30 registration at Lucas Crossing Elementary School. You can't miss it. It's right there next to the University of Missouri St. Louis campus. Again, it's going to be an exciting day to talk about things that you think are important for your community. I think the great thing about, this process is really getting people excited about the potential of what their community can have.
Indeed.
About having their voice be heard.
That is true.
This process is not about outsiders deciding what should happen in a community. It's really about the people that live there, who work there, who play there, who pay their taxes, and who said, I want my community to be better. And here are some of the things that we think are important. So when you think about the fabric of a place, having a healthcare facility like urgent care, or having a sit-down restaurant, or having some entertainment, that's what I think, most folks in the St. Louis region are looking for. And if we can make those things happen on Natural Bridge, won't that be fantastic?
It will be. I think that would just be the perfect complement to the Streetscape project, especially when you consider trying to develop the east end, moving closer to the city, the east end of Natural Bridge. The Streetscape will bring us right to the corner of Natural Bridge and Lucas and Hunt, and immediately east of that, you come into a variety of the communities there, and we're just thinking that for people to be able to give their opinion, a lot of times you have the community saying, oh, that's just lip service. I don't have time. They aren't really interested in what we have to say. But in fact, we really are. We want people to come. We want people to participate. We want to hear about it because it could be that your idea, a citizen, just a regular citizen of those communities may have the most fantastic next best thing. And we are looking forward to getting that, capturing that, and possibly trying to put those kinds of projects and services into the community. We already have banks and churches. These other things will just make a complete complement to what we're trying to achieve.
Right, and then this is a follow-up to a number of other things that have already been happening in the community. There's been owner-occupied home repair in Northwoods and in Pine Lawn and in Bell Ridge. There's been acquisition rehab of homes and selling to new homeowners in Northwoods. We've seen, again, a lot of resources invested in a number of the communities along Natural Bridge into the housing stock. And now as we're looking at economic development opportunities to really, again, think about all the different component parts that make up a healthy, vibrant, and thriving community. So, again, if you're a resident along Natural Bridge from 170 to Jennings Station Road, even if you've been out before, come out and join us again. If you've never come out, please join us. Have your voice be heard. Listen to what's going on. Get engaged. Find ways you can roll up your sleeves to help make your community healthier and stronger. Saturday, May 9th, Lucas Crossing Elementary School, 9:30 registration, at 10 o'clock, the fun starts. Please join us. Ms. Eunice, let's segue to a couple other things that have been in the news a lot of late and clearly are going to have impact on municipalities as well as the broader community. One is Senate Bill 5, and this is the bill that will limit revenue that municipalities get from traffic fees and fines. There's been a lot of back and forth around this, but clearly, folks in North County seem to be taking the heaviest, at least PR brunt of this. Could you maybe give your sense of, what's been missing that folks maybe don't understand about the implications of by simply lowering the revenue without really looking at our folks govern well? What are the real implications that aren't being talked about in the media?
I'm glad you asked that question. I feel very passionately about this. Let's think about it from this perspective. It takes revenue to run a municipality, large or small. The most expensive aspect of any municipality has to do with police security for the residents that live there. And it does take a lot to run those police departments, as well as the services provided in the city, like trash, for example. When the state, as they have decided that they need to limit the revenue, I don't think that they understand that there can be adverse and disenfranchising kinds of implications with reducing that general revenue. The general revenue is created from taxes. It's created from court fines and fees for people who have done the wrong thing, not for people that are doing the right thing. But if they legitimately are doing the wrong thing, they have to come to court and they have to pay. That's a consequence of the actions that they took. Getting those fees, it's still very tight in terms of the dollars that result from those taxes and fines and fees. And so it has been an efficient thing, as efficient as we can make it, to try to run a municipality, provide services to the residents. When the state decided to just arbitrarily cut the revenue for a municipality, suddenly that means that services are not going to be available to the residents who have lived there, those who are new, and those who have been there 30 and 40, 50 years in many, many cases. That's going to be a sad day, because then someone or some other government entity will then come into the area and try to provide some services, and they won't be nearly as efficient. They will not be as many for the dollars that are left after we've been cut down to 10 or 15% off of the revenue.
So again, I think what's important for our listeners to recognize is, both Ms. Eunice and other leaders of 24/1 have said consistently those communities that don't have effective police forces and or court systems, right? We don't want people going to jail simply because they were speeding. But again, there are consequences too. If indeed you break the law, that there should be consequences. A proportionality of that, I think, is the right conversation to be having. We don't want to create debtors' prisons, but on the same token, we don't want to go from one extreme to the other saying, oh, don't worry about breaking the law in places. It's okay. It's only a speeding ticket. But maybe you don't have insurance, or maybe you don't have a license, or maybe you're carrying illegal weapons in the car, or, right? So again, this is not just random policing. And again, a great reminder to folks is the majority of the police departments in the 24/1 footprint have African-American chiefs, and our police forces are much more diverse than what we saw in the city of Ferguson. So this is not about race in our community, right? It's about providing the best services and keeping people safe who live in the 24 communities.
That's true. I think that people need to understand that the three most expensive services in a municipality have to do with public safety, and which is through your police department. Also, public works that offers different kinds of services for clearing streets, maintaining sewers, gutters, and things like that. And I'm talking about stormwater sewers and gutters. And then also the trash collection, garbage collection in a municipality, very, very expensive. Those include not just salaries. We're not talking about people that are overpaid, but we're talking about equipment to make those things happen, to keep cities in the best repair possible from a facilities management standpoint and from a safety and security standpoint. Let's look at it this way. If you have a household budget or income, and you're used to working at, say, 20% of your budget goes into providing things that would make your environment safe, secure, clean, etc., and then suddenly you're cut down to 10% of that budget, going from 20 to 10. That's a big, big difference. And it's going to be very hard to manage any of the cutbacks because it really will require a reduction in the services.
So again, one of the interesting things for folks to note is that in the event that your community has high property values and a high commercial tax base, you could still have a police department that's not very good. You still have a court system that doesn't function effectively and treats people unfairly, and you won't be flagged by this particular bill. So if the intent was to make sure that people provide good governance, again, the basics of this bill doesn't get us to that place in time. So again, I think there's a lot of misnomers about, the perceptions about this particular bill, Senate Bill 5, and what the implications are. And obviously, as it becomes final, we'll know more and we'll be able to, again, have continued conversations around kind of what's important and what's happening out in community. So as we come to a close, let's give our listeners the information one more time about our event this Saturday for folks living up on Natural Bridge.
Okay, on Saturday, we're going to have a Natural Bridge community meeting. It will start at 9:30. From 9:30 to 10 o'clock will be the registration and a light breakfast, and that light breakfast is complimentary. The meeting itself will be from 10 until 12. Community residents and their leadership can be present. We're encouraging everyone to come so that you can give your input, information, ideas, and really just express yourself. We'll have the most modern technology there for you to do it, almost like on those entertainment shows where you get a chance to do your voting.
Vote on the spot.
That's right, on the spot voting. We're looking forward to it, and you can come and experience that and have your opinion be heard as well. You need to consider that we're looking at least the possibility of a grocery store, urgent care facility, a restaurant, entertainment center, and you have a chance to not only choose between those options, but also possibly offer more of your own. So we're looking forward to having you on Saturday from 9 until noon.
Fantastic. Miss Lillian Eunice, City Manager of City of Northwoods, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
We're going beyond.
Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions.
Proudly promoting, presenting, and producing positive programming.
Neighborhood is where you live, and we want to keep it strong and vibrant. This is Chris Krameyer with Beyond Housing. We are going beyond.
Chris Krameyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing, located at 4156 Manchester, phone number 314-533-0600. The only organization in the St. Louis region that offers access to affordable housing. Wherever we work, our goal is to help transform people, families, and communities so that they achieve the skills, strategies, resources, and commitment to succeed for the long term. See our work at beyondhousing.org. Podcast for Going Beyond can be heard, downloaded, and shared by visiting hallelujah1600.com. Listed under the music tab on demand. Going Beyond is another positive production of RareGem Productions.